I'm currently editing 2 videos. And then SuperCoach Team Picker dropped, and I had to drop everything. So here is my team an hour after Team Picker dropped of the preparation that I had done via my note app and put together. So I'm going to head straight to the laptop. Like the video if you enjoy the content. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoy.
Wrong side for him, hooks a ball! What a ball! Sensational!
And here we go, it's back. SuperCoach Team Picker, who is as excited as I am. I know you guys will be in a big way. Now, I've already done my Team Picker, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the picks and why a couple of players at a time, and I'm just going to keep it moving. I'm not going to do the 40 to 50 minute breakdown, as you guys can probably tell because of the duration of the video. So the entirety of this is, these are the players I'm picking so far. By no means is this the finished product, and then you guys can react like that. I am also going to do classic leagues as well. You guys seemed to really enjoy that last year, and that was a bunch of fun to be involved in. It went shitouts for Dazzling last year, so you guys will have a ton of fun kicking my ass. And I'm hopefully going to do a Daz Talks footy draft, and my hope is to emulate a couple of the TikTok NFL dynasty leagues, or sorry, fantasy leagues on Sleeper. So that is being only having like 5 or 6 players on the field and having like 30 people involved. That would be awesome, but a couple of players at a time. There'll be a lot of edits here and there because I'm not here to chew your ear off for 45, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, an hour. There are plenty of fantastic SuperCoach YouTubers that can do that a hell of a lot better than I can with all the stats and insights. I just enjoy the game, guys, okay? So let's get into it. Of course, we start at the top. And of course, rookies are not going to be that big of a deal for me. The ones on the bench, the ones on the field, I definitely think are going to be there at the start. So keep that in mind before you comment. And of course, comment below, let me know players that you're going to bring in and for why. I want to know everything that you guys have got. So after all that rambling, let's get into it, the degenerates. Let's begin with my D1 and D2. Do these two even need any explanation at this point? Sicily and Stewart, they're just the quarterbacks of their defenses. Now, Stewart is the quarterback of a very, very good side, and Sicily is the quarterback of a very bad one. That's just the way that it's going. Hawthorn's midfield was ranked 17th and 18th in a lot of key areas last year, and with Mitchell and O'Meara out, regardless of whether you think guys like Newcomb and Warple are going to take the next step, the Hawks aren't going to suddenly become a top 8 midfield this year, and Sicily's going to become null and void. The only thing I've got is, will Sicily play forward? Now, I think Sam Mitchell's way too smart to do that. The bloke's an All-Australian calibre and should have been in over Braden Maynard. Sorry, Collingwood fans, but like, come on. Seriously. Come on. We know. So, it's as simple as that. Stewart's a star, averaged a bucket load last year, and will continue to do so. My little gripe with Tommy Stewart is he always seems to miss a game here or there, which is a little bit of a pain, but that's the way that it goes. They're going to be my D1 and D2 to start. So D3, Jordan Dawson, surprisingly, is going to become the new Adelaide captain, apparently, according to a couple of reports in the South Australian media. But the halfback wing role, I ignored him last year. I'm not going to ignore him this year. Adelaide are still going to be bad again. He's still going to be the man to go for. And sure, he might get tagged a time here or there, but I mean, if he can get tagged a little bit and still have what he did last year, you're going to take that in spades. And the first rookie in the Daz Talks footy side, still running with the Monica Lipinski, might change that up this year, maybe go for something else. But Ruben Jinby, I think he's going to play pretty early for the Eagles. He's got an AFL-ready body, and if he's good to go, I expect him to play, and he's not going to be the last West Coast rookie in my backline. Connor McKenna's just way too cheap to ignore here. I know Kitty Coleman would probably be in my side, to be honest, somehow, if McKenna didn't come across. But I find it really hard to believe that McKenna would decide to come back to AFL football, be fully fit, and not play. He's going to be an early upgrade target, as I don't see him getting towards the, the 80s and the 90s that would keep him in a side for a very, very long time. But considering the gluttony of good defenders that we've got, someone is going to fall in price, and we can then move sideways. So I'm pretty happy with McKenna in this spot. And Campbell Chesser, we didn't see him last year. He was a lock in my round 1 side before we heard about his injury. And he's going to be a lock here as well. Silky smooth off half-back. I know he's got that def mid as well, so if you do have a couple of defensive rookies that you like and you want to slide him into that midfield, perfectly happy with that as well. But I love the fact that Chess's elite ball movement is set up for SuperCoach success. If you don't know why having Will Gould on the bench is funny, you have not been playing SuperCoach enough and you might be a bit too young. So keep that in mind. And Charlie Dean, who I really liked when I went down to Morwell with a very good friend of the show and one of the predictions videos guests, Smithy. He intercepted everything, and even though they did pick up Jacob Ryan in the draft, I don't take the bench too seriously. I really liked him last year. We didn't see him. I like him this year, so I'm going to have him there. If that's your complaint with this defense, I think it's a pretty good one. So that is the defense. Let's move on to the midfield. No, Clary does really. Yeah, at this stage, I mean, I just love Took, and I'm not taking the Tuk Man and his preseason pictures all that seriously, but Jesus, if you haven't seen them, the man is in exquisite shape. The Bont, the funny thing with the Bont, and I'm kind of leaning into this, is the Bont gets looked after in SuperCoach, apparently. There's this good little conspiracy theory, little subgroup around that thinks that the champion data loves the Bont, so he gets 3 points for nothing, and you can either lean into that. I'm not saying I believe it, but you can lean into it by going, well, it's shit that happens, or you can take advantage of it and have him in your side. I'm still not convinced that 2 guys over 600,000 is the way to go. We might be able to find some value, and that might be in a follow-up video. But for the structure of the side so far and where it stands, the 2 over 600 makes sense. I would love to have Clary in here, Rory Laird as well, but I can't see those boys having a $700,000 price tag for the entirety of the season, and we should be able to pick them up, hopefully, somewhere. So for the 2 guys over 600 that I'm comfortable staying in my side and are somewhat reasonably priced, I'm more than happy with the Gold Coast and the Bulldog Superstars. A whole line of boom or bust here. I completely understand that, but I think Chad Warner and Tom Mitchell at 26 and 31 bucks respectively. Please gamble responsibly, are some of the best value in the Brownlow market at all. So if I believe that, and I truly do, they've got to be in the team. Both can get to unbelievable heights. Mitchell would have to return, and I think the new side, bottom of the pack, feeding it out, is going to suit the game beautifully. And at 500 and change, I mean, come on. Even if you hate his foot skills, I mean, come on. And Chad Warner's a star. I love watching him play, and I'm more than happy to jump on that emotional investment bandwagon at this point. And for this spot here where Jacob Hopper is, and I'm expecting him to get back to somewhat of his best, he's still going to be an upgrade target, I think. I think he is that kind of guy that we're going to turn into another superstar mid at around that round, maybe 6 mark, 12 mark, maybe somewhere. Before the buys, I don't think he'd make it there. I'm not saying he's going to average 110 and stick around, but I think he's going to gain enough in price fully fit that we're going to be able to get him to, like we said, a Clary, a Rory Laird, someone like that who will be able to perform magnificently for us. I completely understand this might be the controversial line in the team here, and I'll tell you what, it was either Hopper or Horn Francis for mine. So think of that what you will. Horn Francis didn't make the side. I think he might at some point during the summer, but it's Hopper for me so far. His role at Richmond is going to be awesome. And if he's not at the centre bounce, Richmond aren't using him correctly, and I think they will as their midfield attempts to bring them a 4th flag in 7 years. And let's finish with the 3 on field that I like the most. Ashcroft and Wardlaw are 1 and 2 in terms of the best midfielders in this draft, and they're going to teams that will use them early. Brisbane had a bit of a problem with their 3rd midfielder. Hugh McCluggage was way better on a wing than he was at the centre bounce. Jared Lyons just couldn't find form at all, and rotating Zach Bailey, Cam Rayner and the like was not working for them in finals. If Will Ashcroft is ready to go, the boy's just going to find the footy and do good things with it. George Wardlaw, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Here is my first potentially dumb prediction. I think he averages more than Ashcroft this year, not only because he's going to be in a North midfield that he's going to need him, but fully fit. That's the caveat here, fully fit, guys. Wardlaw, for mine, his explosive pace is really, really good. And I'm not saying over a great distance, but the power he's got to drive out of contests and that explosiveness to find space for himself and his teammates is something I loved watching him in the NAB League, so keep an eye on that. And Josh Sin, another one that was kind of forgotten now. He should be at halfback or a wing for Port Adelaide, and they desperately need some youth running through there. But I think he's going to take over the Carl Amon role and a more traditional wing role there. He takes meterage. He's a beautiful long kick. I love him in this spot. Matty Johnson, he's just one of my favourites, guys. Don't take the bench too seriously. Connor Blakely is more just, I'm interested to see what Gold Coast do with him. Again, the bench, not that serious, guys. But Alwyn Davey is the one that I'm really looking out for. Yes, they've got Anthony McDonald, Tippermoody back, the Bombers, but they still need some excitement in that front half. He is a more traditional half-forward flanker than he is a forward pocket, so he's going to be the guy delivering inside 50, and I feel like he's going to be a very nice link in the chain as Brad Scott attempts to get Essendon back up the ladder. But that is the completed midfield for the first team picker for Daz Talks Footy in 2023, and I love everything about it. No real dicking around with the rucks here. Max Gawn was the best Supercoach ruckman last year, and he had Luke Jackson. Now, yes, Jackson is going to be potentially more emotionally invested than he was at the D's last year, but Darcy's still the number one ruck at Freo. Make no doubt about that, so I'm happy to slot him in there. It is between Darcy and English for mine. I do worry about English's body. He tends to miss a few games here or there, which I'm not a massive fan of. For Darcy's, as everything that is good about him, when he takes a break, and if Jackson does become the second ruck, can he go forward, sit in the goal square, take a mark? Now, I think he can. The problem that we've got is I've only really seen him do it against Hawthorn, and that's not particularly that hard to do, especially when the key defenders last year were James Blank, who we got in the mid-season draft, and James Sicily, who is many good things on a football field. A key defender ain't one of them. Rowan Marshall was the first man picked for mine. Paddy Ryder gone. And he takes over the mantle as the number one ruck. And when he does so, he just looks so good. He's such a good player. I love him. I know every St Kilda fan that I know loves him as well. And as cheap as he is, if he's not a lock, please tell me why. If he was a ruck forward, I would be in love, and English would be the second ruck. But hey, maybe it will happen throughout the year. But as the number one ruck, I highly doubt it. I know we love a donut at R3, but of the rookies, I think Harry Barnett has got a really good shot. You don't draft a ruckman in the 20s and hopefully not play him. We've seen Geelong with Toby Conway developing him nicely. But Nick Nat isn't going to play forever, and he's on a time crunch as well. So if they did have faith in the likes of Bailey Williams, then I don't think they would have drafted a ruckman. I think Barnett could prove himself and play a bit. I do see him a bit like Max Gawn. He does play nicely behind the ball as well. He's got really nice hands. I know he's got the comparisons to Brodie Grundy in terms of his tap work and how he is around the contest, but around the ground, he could be a little bit of both, a little mixture there, if you will. But, I mean, he's not going to play like both of them early, but if he can get some games call, if not, I'm probably just going to go a 102k player here. I think Luke Viril, or however you pronounce your name, sorry Luke, from Melbourne is the cheapest ruckman, or is the last one on the price list, so I'd just go there. But those are the ruckmen, and I don't really see that changing unless one of them gets a long-term injury. Let's start with the first line of forwards. Josh Dunkley is one of the biggest locks in the history of locks for mine. He is going up to Brisbane and being alongside Lachie Neale in that midfield. Neale, Dunkley, and potentially Ashcroft at the centre bounces is going to cause a lot more danger. We know that he can go forward and still impact games there, but he's not going to need to with the likes, as I said earlier, of Cam Rayner and Zach Bailey, and plenty more that can run through there as well, of course. So Dunkley for mine with a more midfield role is the F1 for sure. Connor Rozee very much could become Stephen Cornelia. I've got no real problem with Cogs here, but Ken Hinkley's job is on the line, which means Port Adelaide need to be in go, go, go mode. And considering no one had more coaches' votes, I think from round 8 onwards, than Connor Rozee, and he took out Port Adelaide's best and fairest, just get another preseason into him, get him fit, get him alongside Ollie Wines at every single centre bounce you can, and figure out the rest. I don't care how you do it, Ken, but that's the way it should go, and I think he's going to take a considerable jump. And I am predicting a top 10 Brownlow finish for Connor Rozee. Tim Taranto, a bit like Hopper, except that I think he sticks around due to the DPP status. I know he's not a great user of the footy. The Clangers are going to kill a score potentially from maybe 140 to around that 115-20 mark. Not as an average, just on a particular day. But considering Richmond do need midfield specialists, Taranto has shown capability of going forward and putting a bit of a score on the board. I think particularly now with Cochin on the way out, hasn't retired yet, of course, but I don't think Koch is going to play every game or attend every centre bounce. You're looking at Prestia and Hopper as your two midfielders that can't really play anywhere else, and you'd be rolling through with the likes of Shea Bolton, Tim Taranto. Now, is that a problem? It potentially could become one, but for now, my F3, comfortably Tim Taranto. Again, he might become Stephen Cornelio and start with Dunkley, Cornelio, and Rosie. Who knows? But for now, like we say, until we know and see more, I am very, very happy with these three as my F1, 2, and 3. And the rest of the forward line, Ben Cunnington. Now, he signed a 2-year deal at North. Why is that a big deal? They're backing him in to be fit for 2 years. He has forward status, and he can average over 100 being a midfielder. Average over 100 being a forward, you're a top 3, 4, 5, 6 forward in the game. Put whatever number you want on it. But at that price, he just needs to be in my side. I wanted Harry Sheasel at the Hawks more than maybe Mateus Philippou, but when it became clear he was going to be a top 4 selection, 3 selection if you don't count Ashcroft because of the father-son, I knew it was a long-lost hope, but he's going to be in the Supercoach team excitement machine. Is he going to be the greatest value at the 190-odd K? Not quite sure, but until more forward rookies kind of sort themselves out, I'm happy having the Cheezel there. Kid's going to be a genuine superstar. He's got X Factor, all those beautiful things. And Toby McLean, I think, is being forgotten about. He's definitely in the Bulldogs' best 22. He's still a half-forward flanker at this point. But 178k and fully fit, definitely a part of Luke Beveridge's plans, who just signed a 2-year deal. He is absolute value, and he can be one that we can move on for potentially guys that start midfield only and potentially go forward to get these DPP statuses throughout the year if those continue to be the rules, and if not, we can look at getting a forward in the door at some point. For the rookies, Jacob Constantine, he fills a need in Sydney's best 22, as does Houghton. Those are why those two boys there. I've also got Houghton there in terms of I can just swap him and Davey if there is another rookie in the midfield who is standing out at some point in the near future, and we can go from there. But that is the entire team, guys. What do you think? Comment below, let me know, and I will have one more video, not Supercoach related, coming before Christmas, and then maybe a few days off, maybe one more video after that for 2022, and then we get into 2023, not just the season, but the calendar year. I hope you have a fantastic day today. I hope you have a fantastic week, you absolute legends. You all deserve the love, the life, the happiness that we all deserve, guys, and you are never on your own. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Like the video if you do like it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, enjoy your day.